Hello, everyone, and welcome to the July Transit Tuesday Talk hosted by Transportation Riders United. For those of you who are not as familiar, TRUE, or Transportation Riders United, is a nonprofit that has been working for almost 25 years to get more and better transit throughout the Metro Detroit area and the broader region. We're constantly debating to what extent is Ann Arbor part of our space, part of our sphere. Partially, I'll have some great stuff already going on here, so I don't need quite as much of the active advocacy. But connecting between Detroit and Ann Arbor is always an important regional priority. So TRUE works through several means. We do a little bit of research about the benefits of transit and how to communicate transit, what's working well. We do a whole lot of education. We've got this series where we bring in transit decision makers and connect them with riders and community members. We do presentations in media and go out and talk with bus riders. So we also do a lot of engagement and mobilization, really working with partner organizations and community members, people who care, who want to see more and better public transit. We work to give people ways to get involved in fighting for more and better transit. And then there's obviously the direct advocacy. Ultimately, transit advocacy is about taking good ideas to decision makers and urging them to make positive change. And that for us can be at the local level, while they're working with the local in Detroit level, working with the Detroit City Council, or the regional level, expanding transit throughout all of Oakland County. That can be at the state level, working to fight for an increase in state investment in public transit, or even occasionally at the federal level, which, as we know, is a extra challenge these days. But we obviously can't be everywhere, so each year we try to figure out where we can have the greatest impact on making transit a little bit better, because ultimately TRUE believes everyone should be able to get where they need to go, regardless of whether they drive. It's not a bold or crazy concept that driving shouldn't determine your destiny in life. And yet sometimes it feels that the Michigan transportation infrastructure is designed on the assumption that everyone drives. I've got a 15-year-old who is in driver's ed this week even, and it's quite a reminder how much our whole society is built around the assumption that everyone drives, and that's just wrong. Not everybody can, not everyone is physically able to or financially able to, and not everybody wants to have to drive everywhere they want to go. So that is why TRUE has been working for so long, and we work with so many different partners to try to make sure people have more and better and cleaner options for getting where they need to go. I guess I should have introduced myself. My name's Megan Owens, and I am honored to be the director of TRUE, and I have been for almost 20 years. And am thrilled to be joined here in person by several folks from the TRUE team. Among the staff, we have Joel Batterman, Lucas Lasecki, McKenna Literal, some of our board members, Donald Stuckey, Deanne Austin, and there's Adam Goodman. Excellent. And then lots of old friends and new. So we have folks online. Oops, I was not trying to turn that. We have both. We also want to make sure people have every possible option for engaging and understanding. So we have we are doing this hybrid. We have I don't know, 30 odd people in person, another dozen online. So we are going to try to make sure everybody can hear everything equally. So as I mentioned, TRUE has been doing a series that we call our Transit Tuesday Talks. And actually, when I was introducing staff, where's Anaya? She organized this whole thing. So if you see Zanaya Kelly, give her a thank you for organizing all of our wonderful Transit Tuesday talks. Yes. Zia is our engagement manager and organizes events like this. We gave her an extra hard task this time because we're doing what we call our transit triple header. We did a tri-transit. A group of us rode out from Detroit to Ann Arbor on the D2A2. Lovely, smooth and easy trip. How many people have used D2A2 before? All right, most of the room. Anyone who hasn't should give it a try. If you're looking for the public transit event, you're in the right place. Or if you weren't looking for it, but you're just curious, come on in. um, so, oh yeah, so we did first a tri-transit with a group riding out to experience transit, whether something we do all the time or for the first time. We're doing our Transit Tuesday talk where we have some excellent speakers from the Ann Arbor Area Transit Authority. And then anyone who is interested afterwards, we're going to head over to Connor O'Neill's for a little bit of Transit on Tap. So it's our transit triple header. We are thrilled to be here. I think those were the main intro pieces. I'll share at the end a couple of things that we have coming up because we are always looking for ways for more people to get involved and to share some of the things we have going on. But I think without further ado, I would love to, what we're going to have, first we have two folks from the Ann Arbor Area Transit Authority who each have some brief presentations to give us an overview, both for, let me ask, how many people here are from the greater Ann Arbor area? All right. How many are from Detroit or the greater Detroit area? All right. How many are some mix in between? I grew up in Ann Arbor and now in Detroit okay. So we have more of an Ann Arbor crowd, but definitely not completely. That's a wonderful mix. One of the things we wanted to do is to have that mix. So we're going to have our speakers share both a little bit of intro for those folks who aren't as familiar with the service that the Ann Arbor Area Transit Authority offers, and then provide some updates on some of the latest and the exciting things that they're planning. And then we will open it up into a little bit of a Q&A. So if folks online have questions, put them in and we'll try to get to those. And folks here, think about the questions that you want to follow up on. So I think without further ado, I'll invite our friends from Ann Arbor Area Transit Authority to come give their presentation. Let me double check. Lucas, do I need to switch anything to screen share with the folks virtually? All right, if you're able to just use this. I know. Okay. This is for in the room, that's for virtual. All right, we'll add the screen share. All right. I figured you could introduce yourself better than I.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Great to see a lot of people. Oh, sorry about that. Well, let's restart. Good evening, everybody. Great to see a lot of people interested in transit, some familiar faces, and a lot of people from local and a lot of people from Detroit area. My name is Forrest Yan. I'm the leading planning and innovation division at the AAATA. So today I'm going to give you an overview about our service and our long-range plan and what we have been doing in the short, medium term. Let's get started. Just click. Okay. All right. So, the long-range plan was we call it the RIGHT 2045 was approved by our board back in 2022. And then shortly after that, we got a millage approved by voters in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area. That was also in 2022. So the long-range plan basically is a shared vision and strategy for transit services in Ann Arbor, Ypsi by 2045. Oops. Are you sharing?
We're trying hard to do the hybrid thing, and as we were saying before, there's always some little glitch. Doesn't matter how well you plan,
Sharing now?
there's always that little glitch. So I appreciate everyone's patience as we make sure we can, the folks on Zoom, the folks on pads, and your. Appreciate everyone's- we've all been through it. So I'm curious, how many people here road transit today? All right, how many people have an opportunity to ride public transit regularly, however you want to define that? All right, most folks, how many people wish they could ride public transit if it went more often, if it went more places and times? Yeah.
How many people bike today?
There you go. How many people biked? All right. Nice. This is quite the, sadly, yeah.
I
Nice.
heard a group of people took D282 here today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you heard the ridership on D282 has, like, I think June or May was a record high, like, I
Nice.
believe it went up to like 8,000. So definitely, you know, whoever rode D282 will add a few for July. Hopefully July will break another record. Just quick. Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay. All right, I think I forgot to remove the animation, but come on. Okay, there's a map. For those who are not familiar with Ann Arbor Area Transportation Authority and the services we provide, just quickly, of course, we have fixed route buses running, covering a large area like Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, and also surrounding communities like Scioto, Peacefield, Superior Townships. We also have a paratransit, you know, just ADA service, supplement the fixed route for people who cannot use big buses. And then we have a commuter service. When I say commuter service, I mean like a park and ride service, and then also the van pool service we have. And then we have a macro transit. So for those you may have tried or familiar, we call Flex Ride. And Flex Ride, there's two zones, east, west, and then there's Flex Ride night holiday. So for time we're not operating fixed route, we have a Flex Ride service. So late night, holidays. By the way, the Flex Ride recently got replaced with a new technology since August 2024. Since then, we see the ridership increase quite a bit, especially holidays. We broke record almost every holiday so far. Of course, we need to improve, you know, the productivity, you know, getting more people share it right, but we're working on that. Okay. Of course, you see the big stadium because we do offer football shuttle during the football season. And we also partner with regional like a RTA, and then you ride it D282. We have air ride, but those are not our service, so we don't operate them. We used to operate D282, but now we can transition to RTA, so they're operating that service right now. All right, so you see the big map here, the red line, the blue line. So for those you familiar with the bus rapid transit concept, so this is our long range plan, fixed route network, right? Aside from the fixed route network, we also have paratransit, flex ride, and then other services. But I'm going to talk about fixed route service network. So by 2045, we propose in our long range plan to have two BRT, like a bus rapid transit lines. So one is on Washington Jackson, so from east to west, connecting like two transit centers, Ypsilanti Transit Center, Blake Transit Center, and all the way to West Ann Arbor. The other one is on State Street at Plymouth. So it's from south to north and connect to North Campus, Central Campus, Blake Transit Center, and to the south in Broadwood Mall, if you are familiar with that. So then, the rest is more, I call it extensive high frequency network. So when I say high frequency, means every 15 minutes or better. As you can tell, by 2045, we proposed a lot of services. And there will going to be a base network, high frequency, so people can, you don't have to look at schedule if buses run every 15 minutes or better. Of course, like I said, we're not just talking about the network, we're also talking about improved off-peak service. And we have macro transit, flex ride, and for coverage, also to connect to those high frequency network. And the A-ride will be part of the improvement as well. Of course, but particularly for this group, we're talking about regional connections, right? So we're not, responsible regional connections per se, but we partner with RTA, with other service providers, try to making those connections happen. As you can tell, we recommend to have a few big park ride lots and connect to Ann Arbor area, because as some of you know, there are a lot of jobs here. Ann Arbor, there are probably 111, 112,000 population in the city of Ann Arbor, but there are probably almost same number of jobs here. So you can tell there are a lot of people who are not living in Ann Arbor but work here. So before pandemic, I think the number was 80,000 people living outside Ann Arbor and work here. As you can tell, biking might be an option for some people, but might not, especially during the winter time or summertime. So transit is really, a good alternative for those who don't want to drive or cannot drive. So in order to make those happen, of course, we want to have a transit supportive policy. I know some municipalities are already working on that, especially like the city of Ann Arbor has, they call it 820 plan, very supportive. There are some new development happening right now that are transit supportive as well, higher density, mixed use, and those are all good, but making sure you build it along the transit corridor, especially you already have the good transit services. So I think Megan mentioned advocacy and partnership. Of course, we rely on a lot of people at federal level, state level, local level to support transit in order to make this plan happen. Thank you. All right. Let's look at some, the projected outcomes, right? So we propose service increase by almost like 100% in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area by 2045. And particularly in the low opportunity index zones. And if you know, and then there are, with special needs, I think in those neighborhoods. So we propose higher increased service in those areas. And then of course, with the high frequency network, more services, and then we'll bring transit quicker, more coverage, and reduce car traffic and driving trips and increase ridership. So that's the key. And then there's a broader benefit. For the broader community, right? You're talking about more people use transit instead of driving, better for the environment, better for equity, better for economy. And then, of course, we're talking about a long, like a 20-year plan. We have stages to implement this long-range plan. The first phase one, we already pretty much implemented. I'm going to talk about later, next slides. But that stage, basically building a foundation, probably a lot of you know, when you take transit, if you only rent every hour, the bus is not going to be very attractive, right? You have to look at the schedule, really careful, plan your trip, especially if you go somewhere, you have to plan your return trip, and only rent hourly service. So for the first phase, we bump up our weekend service from hourly to half hour. I mean, before 6 p.m. So now we have a really good foundation. I would say we can sell our product to people who may not want to drive or may want to become a one-car family. Now we can say, aside from the high frequency network, we run every 15 minutes, or in some cases, like Washington Avenue, we run every 8 minutes. And plus Express combined is every 6 minutes, right? And then, but at minimum, we run half hour, including weekends. And then we have a really nice night ride, holiday ride, and flex ride to supplement, so people can really give up their car if they want to give a try. And then in stage two, there will be like a bus rapid transit, higher frequency on some corridors, and that require heavily on the capital investment, right? We need a new garage or a garage expansion, and then some terminal improvement, and the new buses too. And then we continue to improve the network, either BRT or high frequency network by 2045. So talking about the phase one, those are kind of the details things we're working on. As a part of the 2022 millage, we got this approved and we implemented last year. I think Express Bus on Washington was May 2024. The rest is August 2024. Like I said, the Express Bus, as we observed so far, it did attract new riders along Washington Avenue. It's combined service of 6 minutes, but we already have a pretty decent a ridership base along that corridor, and now we further enhance that. The frequency on weekend, like I talked about, is important for people, especially people not just working Monday to Friday. There are a lot of people need that service on the weekend. And then the long hours, we expand the evening, like late night service. And then the overnight service I touched on, flex ride. Really, I want to share some result, right? Like I said, Express Bus, we observed new riders along that corridor. But the weekend service really showed the increase in terms of ridership. So first few months ridership, we see like 40% increase on weekend. So you can tell. I say that's a good example about what we heard from the community. During the long-range plan, the engagement process, we heard a lot of people saying they need better weekend service because they work on weekend or they need service, other shopping or other service trips. So we did that, and then we implement that immediately after we got the millage approved. And then the riders really respond to that by using the service, right? You can tell they immediately take advantage of those enhancements. And then, of course, you probably heard, and people from Detroit, I know D-Dog got $30 million for Low-No brand last year, and then we got $25 million. Of course, we're still waiting for federal confirmation. Like Megan said, we're hopeful, but seems like it has been longer than what we expected. Hopefully we'll still get it, it's obligated so we can spend the money. And then we have a funding from MDOT, thanks to their support. We've been working on this project actually for quite a few years. We tried, for those of you probably heard transit signal priority, right? When buses approaching to an intersection, especially congested intersection, and if the bus can talk to the signal control, and then they know the bus is late or bus need to get through the intersection, and it will turn the signal to green or extend the green or turn the red to green. So there are different technologies to handle that. We're working on that project. We're wrapping up. Hopefully, we can do some testing like in the fall or later this year, so we can have that implemented actually hopefully next year. And then that's only for one corridor along Washington, this latest transit corridor in Ann Arbor. So there's a phase 2, hopefully soon we'll expand to county, like a EPC area. That's something we're working on. And then there's, I mentioned like we propose to have improved transit centers. So we have 2 transit centers, one here, right beside the library, and then the other one is in EPC, downtown EPC. I see like our board member Jesse and then former board member. So they're very excited about this project. I mean, has been our priority for a long time. I think we finally complete the concept design. We're moving into detailed design. So as you can tell, right now we only park on the street, right? Per street, there are like a 6 bus bays, and this will almost double in that capacity. And it really, and it have a very nice building for customers waiting, for operators to, to have their lunch break. And of course, it will accommodate other mode like bikes, walk, it will be more walkable. Hopefully we'll make it secure and safe. So we're working on that. And we also have the $7 million like earmark money from federal. And then that will help financially. So that's one of the top priority project we're working on right now. And then some of you may heard MDOT project Washington, like east of US 23. So they propose have they call it belt lane. Actually, it's a bus lane, curb bus lane. You can call that like a proposed bus lane. Shared right turn bus lane, but it's still better than nothing. And that's their concept plan. So they propose that they are going to recommend that. Hopefully, that will stay in their final report. And then once they have that concluded, we're going to take over from there and start our bus rapid transit study along Washington Avenue. So that will get us through to detailed design. Hopefully it's construction. Of course, we still need funding for those projects. And then, of course, we work on other projects. I know the Blake Transit Center, we also working with Ann Arbor Housing Commission. They're building affordable house project. And we try to expand that bus lane. Add another bus lane to Blake Transit Center. There are other things. I think we have a program. Lillian is going to talk about at downtown. We're going to work on the fare strategy, and there are so many initiatives that we're taking on right now. If you look at our draft business plan, like for this year, we have 40-something initiatives. Of course, when I say initiative, they're not everything new. Things like we need to maintain service, we need to improve customer service, and it's reliability, all those things. But we are busy. We got lots of projects going on. But anyway, so this is kind of a quick summary for the long-range plan and the short-term, medium-term initiatives. We try to, of course, improve social equity and the environment and build a strong economy, and by increasing ridership. Ridership, right? You probably hear that. We need more people to take transit and then less people driving, so that's better for everything. That's my presentation. I will hand over to, before I go, if you have immediate questions, I know, Megan, how you want to arrange, finish everything? So write on your question, then don't forget about it.
Just 1 second here.
Sound check, sound check. While you're working on bringing that up, I'm happy to introduce myself. My name is Lillian Webb. I am a colleague of Forrest. I'm an employee of the ride, but kind of have a unique role and partnership with the City of Ann Arbor and the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority for a sub-branded program called the Get Downtown program. So we'll go through some slides just to talk about what that covers.
Well, first we'll create some dramatic suspense. There.
Now we need to get this on the Zoom.
Get started.
My title is Business Services Program Manager, and what I like to tell people is that I'm in the Community Relations, Public Affairs, and Community Engagement Department at RIDE. And as you guys know, as transit advocates, you can use transit to go to doctor's appointments, to go to shopping, but really I'm focused on helping people get to work and school using not their cars. So that would be a little bit of why I'm talking to you in addition to Forrest. All right, so you said space or forward?
Right arrow.
Right arrow.
Right arrow on the screen.
Do I know my left from right?
Screen up.
On the screen.
On the screen.
There.
All right. So the Get Downtown program, as I mentioned, it's a partnership between the ride. It's housed in the ride. I'm an employee of the ride. My office is in the Lake Transit Center. But our partners are the City of Ann Arbor and the Ann Arbor Downtown Development Authority. There's a big focus on downtown Ann Arbor. I have a slide that'll kind of show you for those who aren't in the area or don't know what we define as downtown Ann Arbor for the purposes of this program. It's a 25-year-old program. So in 1999, there was a parking issue. We're at parking capacity. We have parking garages. Those are expensive to maintain. And if you've ever watched the news and heard about bridges that get shut down in other places or train lines, subways that need fixing, people tend to have like this doomsday apocalypse of what will happen. Traffic will go crazy. We'll never be able to survive it. And in 1999, the same thing happening here with, we need to repair these parking garages. How can we close an at capacity parking garage for however long it needs to be repaired? And the partners of this program decided, hey, let's use a park and ride situation. We'll fund some bus passes, and people did it. And they were like, wow, maybe we should just use the bus regularly. So the Get Downtown program was founded in 1999, along with our Go Pass program, which is the kind of longest part of the Get Downtown program. And I think the only thing I didn't officially say on this slide is that we do cater towards people getting to work, commuters, and commuters to downtown Ann Arbor, even though there are also residents in downtown Ann Arbor. So I'll spend a little bit of time on some of the other things that Get Downtown does, but I'll spend most of this on the Go Pass program. So Get Downtown is all about getting folks to try other options besides driving alone to work. And we've got the same message 365, 366 days a year. But we have these challenges to help add some spice and some energy at certain times a year to the same things that we are saying all the time. Conquer the Cold is our winter challenge, usually January, February. Commuter Challenge is something we do in May. It's really workplace based. We participate in Bike to Work or Bike to Wherever Day more recently. And then we've recently been doing a fall challenge as well around the World Car Free celebration. Currently, the website we do this on to track trips and encourage people to win prizes like gift cards is win.getdowntown.org. Anyone participate in our challenges? Ask them how they are. Anybody won anything during the challenge? Oh, okay. People got patches. Okay, cool. Anybody get socks? So kind of the bread and butter of the Get Downtown program, though, is our Go Pass program, which is an interesting thing we do. Pictured is the current Go Pass. I have a Go Pass in my hand here if anybody's not sure what it is, but it's a credit card size bus pass that is available through folks' employers in the downtown area. It does offer them unlimited access to the ride fixed route buses, as well as discounts on our holiday and late night service when buses fixed route isn't running, as well as some local businesses are happy to offer 10% off your drink order for having a Go Pass if you show it. But this is our program that, while information about car-free commuting or non-drive alone commuting is available to everyone, this Go Pass program is specific to our downtown area because it's funded by our Downtown Development Authority. So it's a very popular program. This is the area of downtown. It's 67 blocks within Ann Arbor. We've got about 250 participating employers right now. It's everything from restaurants. There's like 80-something food service, be they cafe, desserts, high-end restaurants. We've got lawyers, we've got social workers, you name the type of business, county, library employees, folks are using the bus to get to work. And we've got, on any given month, nearly 1,000 folks using their Go Pass on buses. So some folks use it when their car's in the shop, some folks use it every day. It's really a variety of people using it. And then for those who aren't aware, sorry, people online, this is where you guys are. If you're curious, you're kind of on Library Lane and 5th. So it's most of where you'll be tonight for those of you who are in person.
And the big old square on the right is the university?
Yeah, that kind of empty square is the diag, yeah. So just quickly to note that folks typically ask, if it's a commuting program, how did it go with the past couple years? It definitely took a dip, but we are on the rise each year, a little bit more and a little bit more. So we're happy to see that people still value and take advantage of this program. Another way to kind of quantify the impact is what are downtown employees saving by using their bus passes? If you are only transit and bikers, you maybe don't know how much it costs to park every day, 5 days a week downtown. A parking permit can be $200 a month. It can be at the high end, like $4,000 a year. So when folks use a park and ride, when they use the bus from their home, they are putting money back into their own pockets, plus gas, plus insurance, plus all that. So just parking and gas is $1.5 million in savings. And then also gallons of gas compared to taking a conventional non-electric vehicle, and then greenhouse gases. So for 25 years, we have been a program here for downtown employers. They don't have to be the experts on bus and passes for their employees. They have me, they can call, who can help them with their transportation options. And then quickly, what do they say? I'll let them say it for us, that if they're in the downtown area, they probably don't have a big parking lot for people to come and park. So if they can get their employees on the bus or biking, that leaves the parking for people who need it. And same for our small business. One of the charms of downtown Ann Arbor, a lot of small shops. This is a benefit that they're able to provide to their staff. That again, if their staff were parking in the structure, that's $1.50 each hour out of their paycheck, versus if they are using transit, then they're essentially getting a raise because their employer provides them a transit pass. So I will stop there, but if you want to learn more about the Get Downtown program, we are on social media at Get Downtown. So I will pass it back, I think, to Megan.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Why don't we, maybe we will
You want to pull your chairs up? Well, I guess we didn't think about this, but I'd love to have both of you guys come on up for a little bit of Q&A. If we don't mind. What's that? Turn to face the camera. Audience, I can't defy. No. Sorry, we should have thought to bring some chairs up here, but you guys have so many great things going on. I really do love hearing about all of it. And I should share, I grew up in Ann Arbor and remember being 14 and the freedom of being able to get on the bus and go all the way to Briarwood. And I look at your plans for the BRT. It would have been a great direct shot for me. So love to see all of the great progress. I wanted to start asking a little on the Get Downtown. Can you talk a little bit about how it's funded? So as I understand, the employees get their passes almost for free, but where does the funding come from and why? I don't know if it's possible to hold both of these. Sorry for the.
I'll give it my best shot. So the majority of funding for the Go Pass program is provided by the Downtown Development Authority, who is responsible for the parking system in Ann Arbor. And so they provide a grant through parking revenue actually to support bus rides each year. So typically most employers are able to offer it to their employees for free. Some do just want to have a little. We do charge the employers to participate a small fee, and so they sometimes pass that along. But majority of the actual rides are funded through a parking revenue grant.
Excellent. What sort of, yeah, I would love to hear some questions from our audience here. All right, we got lots. We got lots. Sorry for folks who are online here. I'm gonna run around a little and get a couple of questions.
Okay, so first of all, super excited about the improvements in the ride. I also grew up in Ann Arbor and remember feeling very stuck when I was at Pioneer and there was like 2 buses a day to leave, which I guess maybe was the point. But I was curious for the transit hubs that are outside of Ann Arbor downtown, like you have some in the west and stuff. Are those going to have physical structures? Because that is one reason why I don't ride in the winter, like dark and cold and like feels dangerous.
Well, good question. Actually, in our long range plan, we did propose have like 4 transit hubs. I didn't forgot to mention that. I think you probably can notice like on the map. For example, Broadway Mall, or at the end of each like bus rapid transit line, there will be like a hub. There is certainly going to be physical structure like canopy, shelters, some of the amenities for customers to wait. And there will be multiple bus lanes connect there. So you're not just, you can easily from the local bus connect the BRT from those transit hubs.
Run out and ask.
Thank you. Yeah, great presentation. It was very exciting particularly about the possibility of extended service to the greater Ann Arbor area. I'm from Brighton and it's pretty much have to drive everywhere. So I guess my question is regarding that, the express routes to Ann Arbor, Saline, Chelsea, are those going to be handled by AAA TA or is that going to be handled by the regional services and like the LETS program, for example, in Livingston County? What's exactly the plan for that? And who's going to be managing those express routes?
Another good question, actually. When I talk about especially the regional connections, if you understand how we find our services here, we're rely on property tax, right? We have a millage in Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area. There are 3 members, one is City of Ann Arbor and the City of Ypsi and the Ypsilanti Township. So the residents in those 3 members, they pay property tax. So for us side, typically we try to partner with, like, let's say if state has some funding or RTA, if, eventually RTA is gonna go to a village, so they may have some funding. Or in this case, maybe, there's university or there's big employers are willing to, share some of the costs, right? I think the good example we had was before the pandemic, we offered 2 commuter buses, like one is from Camden, one from Chelsea. Partially funded by university, I would say they subsidize the employee fares in those programs. But like I said, it's probably not fair for local taxpayers to fund entirely for those. I mean, certainly through fair revenue, through some external funding, we wanted to take on, we're doing some study right now and just assess the needs, where the best next option, I would say, except D2A2, air right? So explore those ideas. Back in, I think a few years ago, we had an opportunity in working with NYU of M. From, if you know, there's a parking right on the 8 Mile. I mean, when MDOT did some expansion on US 23, they built parking lot. Actually, we partner with them, try to build that parking lot to accommodate a bus stop and service. But unfortunately, the funding didn't come through, so we didn't introduce that. But back at the time, we're almost at the time to introduce that connection. So that's kind of when the funding opportunity come up, we certainly gonna take on those. But RTA, hopefully RTA eventually will have their own village, so they can start to take on those regional connections, right? So, yeah, thank you.
Always a complicated answer. We can hold these and then.
All right, folks. Next, we're going to take a question from a viewer watching from home. Mary Jo from Dearborn asks, how will these plans relate to Ann Arbor Amtrak riders?
Do you have any sense of?
Well, certainly, we have connections. Today it's 2 Amtrak station, but going forward, we heard some concerns because the accessibility, the bridge, the other is just sometimes it's odd to go into that train station. We assume the train station will stay where it is. I don't know, right? So you probably heard a lot of talking, relocate that train station. But no matter what, we try to make that multimodal connection work better. So we will certainly going forward pay more attention for those connections, see how we can, improve, make those like seamless. But of course, we only have I think 2 trains today, I believe, 3.
3 a day each way.
Yeah, okay. It's a good point.
Any other questions? Yes.
Thanks, Lucas. So I would just want to echo the point on the long range plan, especially for the regional connections. I remember being at those public hearings 2-3 years ago and sharing a lot of my excitement for a lot of the connections. I want to kind of piggy off that a little bit. So with the regional connections, specifically in Western Wayne, are you looking at improving more connectivity on some of the regional routes, like connecting more of Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti, and Metro Airport to Western Wayne County? Or even the downriver communities, for example, because there are communities, and commuters that come from Southgate, Taylor, Allen Park, some other areas out to Ann Arbor for work. Is that something you're looking at as well?
And I guess I'll add a little bit of context just to make sure everyone is familiar that Wayne County next year, when we vote on the transit millage, it will finally include all of Wayne County. So for decades, there's been this awkward, yes, it is worth a big applause. We will finally include transit in all of Wayne County. And I know folks at the ride have been very interested and willing to do more connections eastward, but there's been these huge gaps when Plymouth, Canton, Livonia areas have 0 regional transit connection. It's hard to make those. So yeah, I know a lot of your planning was done before that, but yeah, any consideration as to how you might be able to do more connections eastward into different parts of Wayne County.
Sure. Thank you, Robert. I know, if you're familiar with Robert, he always showing up at our board meeting. He always go to our public engagement meetings. So, he's heavily involved in our long-range plan. So in our long-range plan, we did recommend some connection to East Wing from Ypsilanti in particular, because people work, or people commute in. Like if you recall the regional connections and park and ride lot. I think that's a great opportunity for their millage if that got passed the next year. We already in some discussion. Hopefully, we'll come to some partnership. I think definitely their own millage will provide some financial support, and they probably heard a lot. People leaving Wayne County, coming here work, or people in like Ypsi going there work, or even shopping other trips. So I think that there's certainly need. Once the financial support in place, there might be a lot of opportunity to work together.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, that it's great that we have a downtown Detroit to downtown Ann Arbor express, but there's an awful lot of places in between that need to connect. We were just chatting on the way in that, all right, one of our friends from Dearborn here would love to go to the EMU ball games, but wow, is that a roundabout way? So hopefully there'll in the next couple of years be some much better connections. So additional questions.
The city of Ann Arbor has a plan to road diet all multi-lane roads in the city. It's a plan that's been around for a while and hasn't necessarily been acted on very quickly. But in thinking about road dieting, some roads like Plymouth Road that could really use a bus rapid transit lane, how do you think about aligning funding for, purchasing new buses in order to fund, have rapid transit on that line with city changes in the road infrastructure? Do you align those two things?
So actually, we've been dealing with that road diet quite a bit. They're a good bet, right? So of course, slow down traffic will hopefully make transit a little bit more attractive. But again, it will also slow down buses as well. So we have a lot of reliability issue. The service being late buses due to this project. But we're working with city. We hope to introduce bus lanes. You said bus rapid transit. Right now, if you haven't heard, actually, we work with the university to introduce the first segment of dedicated bus lane on State Street. So hopefully we'll see that by fall. I think it's under construction, will be soon. A lot of university buses going by that section. We have a lot of buses going there too. And that's setting a good example. Hopefully will be well received by the community so we can extend that program. So we have a constant conversation with city and try to incorporate, let's say, if you want to slow down traffic, maybe turn the lane to a bus lane, not everywhere bike lane, but I bike everywhere, right? I love those bike lanes. But sometimes, like I said, wintertime or super hot days, you cannot bike. Or long distance from outside Ann Arbor, you need to rely on transit, right? So kind of what we need to achieve that balance. Yes, that will be a great opportunity. Right now, we haven't been very successful. Hopefully with this like State Street bus lane project, we can expand, so have more. Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. We only have time for just a couple more questions because we want to make sure our, well, not just because we're going to head over to Connor O'Neill's for some transit on tap, but to also make sure our some of our Detroit folks can catch the bus back. But so we're going to wrap up in about 15 minutes. But yeah, about 3 more questions. Adam?
Yeah, so great segue. Talking about working with the university, I thought this was an interesting topic that was a little bit missing from the presentation. I wonder if you could talk about the M-Ride program and particularly what percentage of rides are M-Card swipes?
Do you have any sense of the numbers?
Sure. For those who don't know, we have a agreement with university So there are students, employees ride for free. I mean, they're not paying from their own pocket. University paying for their ride. So that's our M-Ride agreement. It's very successful. Like Adam mentioned, actually we have about a 50%. So yeah, can you imagine like half our riders they ride for free. Of course, GetDowntown program, also they ride for free. So there is a large percentage of riders in Ann Arbor, IPSI area riding for free.
Yeah, not out of their own pocket.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So, so it's a good program. I think we'll continue, but of course we try to collaborate, like for example, the regional connections. If there are opportunities for park and ride service coming from Brighton or from Chelsea, from somewhere else, there's a third-party funding available, or maybe state will jump in and help us out, so we can introduce more of those type of services for sure. Thank you.
I will also add that while we only have a couple of different passes, because passes get kind of crazy for the drivers to have, there are quite a few folks who are getting sponsored rides. We have some other schools and even high schools who bought youth passes in bulk and provided those to their students as a way to support their transportation needs. So even if there's not a specific pass created for them, there are some folks who are using the transit service for their unlimited rides for their constituents.
I really do think that's an interesting, a unique characteristic of just how many different agreements. Some transit systems, it's almost everybody just pays out of their own pocket, but the ride has done such a great job of developing different partnerships, whether again with the DDA, with the university, with other schools, to recognize that it's not just the passenger themselves who's benefiting by them riding, and so splitting that cost out.
Mentioned Gold Ride. Yeah.
Yes, Gold Ride, is that for seniors or?
Yeah, the A-Ride actually.
You want to say more about those?
Sure. Thanks, Larry. Larry is our former board member from IPSI Township. Anyway, so we have a Gold Ride. Anybody like over 65 years old, they can apply for Gold Ride card. They ride fixed route for free. And there's also a Gold Ride Flex Ride. I mean, of course, they have to pay. We also have A-Ride, like, the paratransit eligible riders, they ride fixed route for free as well. We have a fair deal card. Anybody between 60, 65, they ride for half price, right? So there are a lot of programs. I think, when you look at the fare, okay, basic fare, $1.50, but a lot of people only pay a fraction. So, yeah.
And again, lots of different ways to help people understand people with different circumstances and different employers or different ages all have different values of riding. Was there another online question before we have to wrap up?
Yes, we've got another question online coming from Mike watching at home. He says that AAATA seems like it has some successful programs, and Detroit could learn a lot from those programs. What do you think are the most critical challenges that Detroit faces that AAATA has solved?
I mean, I will help by pointing out the folks in the greater Ann Arbor area pay a lot more for their transit service than people in the Metro Detroit area. I don't remember exactly what the millage adds up to, but the amount of investment, all of these great services are possible because the university and the city and the voters have made transit a major investment priority. There's a lot more investment coming. So one of the things that the Metro Detroit area has to do is put more money into transit. Money doesn't solve everything, but you can't solve these things without it. So that is at least my initial answer. I'd love to hear if you guys have other thoughts for, yes. Invest in it so that your agencies have the money to do great things. That helps, but I'd love to hear any other thoughts you guys have.
I'm not going to take the bait. I know there's a lot that could be done, but one of the things that I admire, I know Smart's been doing it for a while, and I think I recently heard that DDOT also does this, but on the commuter side, that they have a program where folks who are just getting started with a job, if they've newly hired, that they can get a transit pass, which I think is a really cool thing. To just offer, and it's I believe it's for their service area and not specific to a downtown location. So props to them for having that sort of program where before you get your first paycheck, or you might still be saving up for some things, you might be spending money on your attire to wear to work, that you can get your transit taken care of. So shout out to the Detroit area for thinking of that and adopting that.
Any things that you don't want to give any particular advice to the Detroit area, recognizing everybody's got their own strengths and weaknesses, but
Unfortunately, I haven't rode transit much in Detroit, so that's I will I've ridden D2, A2, but not much throughout the Detroit area. So
all right, I guess we'll have to get more of you guys out to visit our systems. All right. All right, one more here. I'm sorry we're not gonna be able to get to all the questions, but one more here before we need to wrap.
Yeah, so this is just going off of like the regional transit authority. I know we had a vote back in 2016, and I'm excited for the Wayne County vote next year. Hopefully there can be bus stops and whatnot in Canton, Plymouth, and possibly connecting Ypsi and Ann Arbor so people can travel between counties without using a car. But just another question relating to like more train, commuter rail and trains. So I sold my car 2 years ago and I used high-speed electric micromobility. Not everyone wants to do that though, just because of safety considerations. But is there any like, and I have family in Wayne and Oakland County. I'm still able to go out there with my vehicle, but and I do it year round too, in the winter and summer. But for actually like rail and connecting, let's say like Canton and whatnot, I mean, people can bring on, like, for example, it's easier to bring on your own personal, micro electric vehicle onto a train than it is onto a bus. Is there any talk of like, connecting Wayne County, Detroit, with commuter rail?
I mean, I will say there's continual interest in getting more regular regional service at very minimum on the train on that Amtrak route that goes between, well, all the way from Chicago, but the Ann Arbor, Ypsi, Dearborn, Detroit, and then up to Royal Oak and Pontiac. That route only runs 3 times a day each way, and it's centered around the Chicago schedule. What's convenient for Chicago, not centered around what's convenient around here. I know there's ongoing interest in making that into a much more frequent regional service. Again, a lot of it comes down to funding, and there would need to be substantial investment. It is pretty unlikely that rail would happen outside of that corridor, or maybe there's also consideration of adding a station to the new Michigan Central, the rebuilt Michigan Central station, and then under the river over to Windsor. There's active conversation of connecting there. While I would love to see, I guess technically the Canton, that Amtrak line does go through the very southern edge of Canton. And I did hear from the Canton Town Supervisor, they would love to see if there's a way to add a stop there. So I will say it's possible. Nothing is in the immediate plans. Nothing is immediately funded, but that is certainly something that we are constantly hearing interest in. And True is exploring ways to make happen. I don't know if you guys have any other comments on that or any closing remarks that you want to say.
Just want to add on, like, for example, D2E2, you consider is very successful, especially for the first couple of years operation. If we can double frequency or triple, make it every 5 minutes before we start the train, because train is, like Megan said, is very high investment, right? Especially at the front. like given what's happening at the federal level, I don't think there's going to be enough money to fund a commuter rail here. But anyway, so if we make D2A2 super successful, that might be the foundation to move to next stage, right? I would say,
Yes.
let's make that happen.
Yeah, get tons of people on what we've got to demonstrate that we need more. Any final thoughts?
I just want to plug, as we are making our way towards regional transit, for those of you who are currently in Brighton, in Canton, in Chelsea, commuting to Ann Arbor, commuting to Detroit, we do have a program called Band Ride here for commuters coming into Washtenaw County. And it has a different name throughout Michigan, but for folks who are commuting maybe 15 miles or so, instead of using your personal vehicle, you can commute with other commuters and share a vehicle, and that can be another thing that helps you get down to one car or reduce your commuting costs by, instead of having 5 cars on the road who are all going from Ann Arbor to Detroit. That wouldn't, yeah, because we could use D2A2 if we're going from Ann Arbor to Detroit. But if you're going from Dearborn to Chelsea, there's other commuters who you can connect with and get in a car together. So that's something you can look into today while we're working on these big picture plans.
Excellent. Well, let's give a big round of applause for our guest speakers here. Yeah, so Zanaya and I are going to make a few final remarks, but thank you guys so much for all of the efforts you guys are making. Extend our thanks to your colleagues, both certainly you guys for the presentation and your colleagues for all of the great work you do.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. Thank you, everybody, for great stuff.
Yes, it's always fun to get people who care about transit together. And I think there are some great lessons. Whatever transit service you have, you can always figure out ways to make it more reliable and more convenient and more frequent, so that more people want to utilize the service, and then you boost the ridership. So I think there's some great lessons there. I did want to share just a couple of quick things. Again, we are always looking, we always have opportunities for folks to get involved. We have some true board members from Ann Arbor and IPSI. We have volunteers from around the area, so please consider getting involved. If you signed up, you should be on our email list. We'll give you updates as to other events that are coming up. We have a member appreciation picnic coming up soon. Where we'll get a tour of the queue line and get together for a picnic. And then let me have Z tell you about a few of the other fun things that we have coming up. And while you were out of the room, we gave a big round of applause to Z for setting up this wonderful event.
Oh, you go. Please promote. Yes. Hi, everybody. This will be very quick because the people who are leaving right after this, we have to hustle and bustle. We have a volunteer orientation. So if you like what you saw, if you're interested in TRUE and you're unfamiliar, this is a great opportunity to hear more about TRUE and how you can get involved and become a member and a volunteer. The orientation will be in the first week of August. If you're interested in anything that I'm about to say, please make sure that you sign up at the table in the back so that we can have you on our email list and we can get to you. We have a game night. We do socials. We have fun here. So we have a game night coming up tentatively August 18th, tentatively. So if you want to come by Techtown in Detroit, hop on the D2A2 if you're a local resident, and you can come have some fun games. A lot of them are transit themed, but some of them aren't. We have a 25th anniversary gala coming up. TRUE has been around for almost as long as I've been alive. So if you like to join us for a formal fun night, then, join us at our 25th anniversary gala. All of these events can be found on our website at detroittransit.org. That's again, detroittransit.org. You can also get your tickets directly from the website. Some other things and other ways you can get involved. We have rider engagement going on throughout the year. So if you like to be out in the streets in the elements, it's a fun place to be. You can talk to fellow transit riders and hear their perspective and let them know that people do care about their transit experiences and people do want to make a difference. So that's a great way to get involved. If you want to share your experience, your opinions, or your story when it comes to transit, We always are open to do an interview where you can get a nice little article about yourself and your experience and tell your story, good, bad, or in the middle. You can attend legislative coffee hours. We keep you all up to date with that. We do a few lobby days throughout the year. You can also help push transformative transit legislation. TRU has been very influential in shaping the improvements around transportation for as long as they've been around. So if that's something you're interested in, if that's something you're really serious about, please get involved. Also, if you ever just want to promote a positive image of transportation, that's something that we're constantly working on. And if you have some cool ideas, we love to hear them and implement those. I'm going to keep it short and end there. And if you are leaving on the 7:30 D2A2, join me at the exit so we can make sure we make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Z. Yeah, Zanaya is our engagement manager, and we have all sorts of great different ways for people to get involved. So yeah, for the folks who need to hop on the D2A2 back, you can head over there now. For those of you who are interested in hanging out a little bit more, we are going to head over to Connor O'Neill's for a little transit on tap. Some of us are going to be catching the 9 o'clock D2A2 back. So we'll be over there between about 7:30 and 8:30. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. Let me or Lucas or Zanaya know if if you have questions or interested in getting involved. So thank you, everyone. Have a great night.